Frank Turek. He has a question for unbelievers, and I'm sure he considers this to be a logical elbow drop to the face of unreasonable atheists across the planet. But is this question going to be deep and profound, or just completely pointless? Why don't we find out?
What's the one question you should ask somebody who is not a believer? I think it's this. If Christianity were true, would you become a Christian?
To no one's surprise, the question is obviously completely pointless. It's your standard Frank Turek level verbal Christ foo. And as usual, I'm not impressed. People have been trying to prove Christianity is true for 2,000 years. And the best they can do is recite anecdotes and play word games. Kind of like what Frank is trying to do here. You could replace Christianity with any other belief, and it would be unconvincing to Christians. But for the sake of this video, I'll play along with his hypothetical situation.
If the person hesitates at all, the problem isn't just intellectual, it's also volitional. They might not want it to be true.
Or they may be confounded by the absurdity of your question, like a jury trying to make sense of the Chewbacca defense.
Why would a Wookiee, an 8-foot-tall Wookiee, want to live on Endor with a bunch of 2-foot-tall Ewoks? That does not make sense. But more importantly, you have to ask yourself, what does this have to do with this case? Nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with this case. It does not make sense. If Chewbacca lives on Endor, you must acquit.
And I've gone to a lot of college campuses and presented evidence that Christianity is true with our seminar called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist.
Yes, Frank, you have lots and lots of high-quality evidence that is totally believable and completely irrefutable. Like this little gem here, courtesy of the Messianic Manic. You're probably already aware of him if you're watching this video, but if you weren't, go ahead and check out his video. Link is in the description.
And by the way, bad design is not no design. My car is not designed perfectly, but it's still designed. And we agree, of course, we live in a fallen world, so everything's broken. Nothing's going to work perfectly. That's the whole point of the fall.
When things look designed, that's evidence of God. When things look haphazard, that's evidence that God made everything shitty after the fall. No matter what the evidence looks like, it will always be evidence of God's design. Checkmate, atheists.
I ask you if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? And you say no. How's that reasonable? How's that rational?
It's completely rational and reasonable, and it's not hard to understand why. Am I going to have to make a Hitler reference? I'm going to have to make a Hitler reference. We have irrefutable evidence that Hitler existed, Frank. Are you going to become a Nazi? Of course not. Just because a belief is true does not mean you have to accept it.
They don't want it to be true. They have a moral issue, an emotional issue.
Well, it's not true for one, but yes, I would have a moral issue. That's the reason for the Hitler reference. If the Bible is true, it was inspired by a genocidal maniac who advocates slavery, the stoning of homosexuals, killing of witches, and for some reason, probably has an irrational hatred for Red Lobster.
People don't want Christianity to be true. Why? Because they don't want there to be a God. They want to be God. They want to go their own way. They don't want to have a moral authority above them. In fact, most people are not on a truth quest. They're on a happiness quest.
And here's where the argument really falls apart. How do you think Frank would answer if we replace Christianity with Islam? People don't want Islam to be true. Why? Because they don't want there to be an Allah. Good luck on that happiness quest, Frank. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I always love seeing Frank Turek getting the piss taken out of him, and it was fun taking my turn. So leave me a comment and a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to see me tackle, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys later.